what day it is anymore. I'm getting my coffee. And I want to show you, today I'm going to make some sourdough bread. My sourdough starter has been doing really well lately. This is double what it was last night when I fed it. And I just keep it in a jar on my counter, and you feed it supposedly every day, but sometimes I miss a day. And then you are supposed to bake it in a, we call these Dutch oven. I got a stainless steel one because the other ones were like $50 or $60. But it's supposed to have a lid. So I hope it works out doing it in a stainless steel Dutch oven. I'm excited to use that. I'm excited to make my own bread again because I haven't made any of my own bread for years. I used to make it when I lived with my parents because they had, my mom had a, what do you call it, a bread maker. And that takes out all of the work. But I'm excited to make it by hand and make it in its own pot in the oven. It just makes everything smell so fresh and so good. And not only that, homemade bread is so much better for you than what you can get in the store. And when you add sourdough into it, your body can digest it way better because it breaks down the gluten in a way that your body can't. So I'm going to be making some sourdough bread. Last night I forgot to close out the vlog, so it probably ended with us, I think we were at the store, and we did a lot of Christmas shopping last night. We got almost everything that we were gonna get. Come over here, girls. Bethany, come over here, baby. That first sip of coffee is the best. So anyways, what was I saying? Oh, we got almost everything we needed. Things were hectic. I do not recommend shopping for Christmas a few days before Christmas in stores. It is ridiculous. Obviously it was beyond our control this year, so that's what we had to do, because I was afraid that a lot of the things wouldn't arrive in time if I ordered on Amazon, which is what I did last year, and I loved it, and I was able to get everything that I wanted for the girls, and for Roberto. The only thing I didn't like about ordering everything online was the amount of packaging that I had to deal with. It was so much. I had to take stuff out to the recycling bin a lot. And not only that, before I did that, Adeline's room was completely filled with boxes, and that was before she was born. So it was a lot to deal with. So yeah, that's kind of what we're doing today. I am going to need to wrap all those gifts eventually. Oh, careful, sweetie. You all right? Did you trip? Okay, you're okay. Are you guys having powdered donuts? Yummy. Addie, what do you have? A spoon from the kitchen? The little play kitchen? They're gonna love their gifts. I wanted to get Addie a specific set of dolls, and I actually found some. They were sold out of all of them, and I found one little set, and I was like, okay, I have to get her this. And then I found her another little toy, and we got her some clothes. And then Bethany, we got her some things that I know she's gonna really enjoy. I got her a few more accessories for her play kitchen, because she plays with that non-stop, and I got her a few other things. Yeah, and both girls got clothes. I'll probably show the things we got eventually. I'll show them when I do a wrap with me, because I'll do a Christmas wrap with me, and that'll be fun. You can do a little chat. Today, I'm also going to be filming the second part of my Q&A, because I had 2 more questions, and I filmed the whole thing, and my phone cut off, so I have 0 footage from that. And then I didn't do it yesterday because we ended up going shopping earlier than I thought we were gonna go. So I'll film that today. That'll be in today's vlog. It'll be fun. I need to keep my talking right now down to a minimum because that's going to take up quite a bit of time, and I don't want this to be like 30 minutes long like yesterday's video was. It's so easy to get carried away with things when you're talking. So I'm going to play with the girls. We're going to have some coffee. I'm going to have some coffee. They're not having coffee. It's going to be a really good day. All right. I have some time. The girls are napping, so I'm going to take some time and answer the rest of the questions. There was 2 more questions that I didn't get to in my last Q&A video that I included in Vlogmas. So I'm going to get right into those and answer them real quick. There were two questions from the same person, and she said, this is part 1 of the question, knowing how crazy the world is right now, what gives you peace that everything will be okay for your kids? And this is part 2, as far as actual birthing goes, I heard your first was pretty hard. What was bad about it? I'm just terrified of bringing a child into this world, and I'm scared of the pain of childbirth. So this really hits home with me a lot. It's a topic that I really, really love talking about, and I am actually going to be talking a little bit more about childbirth in an upcoming video because there is a lot of interest in my home birth, my 2 home births actually. Both were very, very distinct experiences. So I'm going to be following up this segment with a whole video all on its own because I feel led to do that. But I'm going to go ahead and answer these questions right now. So part 1, knowing how crazy the world is right now, what gives you peace that everything will be okay for your kids? Now, this is something that I'm super, super passionate about. So if I say anything that's controversial, I'm sorry. This is just my opinion. And it's also based on what the Bible says. So number 1, I used to get very anxious about things, and I don't really get as anxious anymore. And that's because I have learned how to give my cares to God. And it's really hard to do when you're first learning how to do it, but He gives you the grace to do it. There is also the fact that there is 365 verses in the Bible where it says specifically, do not be afraid. And I think God put it in there that many times, and I've heard other people say this before, and I believe it's true, because we naturally as human beings tend to be afraid of things, of situations, of different circumstances, whatever they may be. There are so many different things and so many different phobias in this world. But God has given us, if He says it that many times, He meant it for you to take it seriously every 365 days of the year. And it's easier said than done. It's something you definitely have to actively pursue, and when you feel a thought of fear or anxiety coming into your mind, to cast it down. I don't believe we have to sit in anxiety. I know that it is something that a lot of people struggle with, just like a lot of people struggle with depression and other things. But especially, like, I have experienced anxiety a lot, especially after I had Adeline. I experienced a lot of anxiety. But to address the question, I don't believe we need to be afraid of bringing children into this world. There's also another verse that I really, really love. It's Psalm 127, verse 3 through 5, the first part of 5. It says, behold, children are a heritage from the Lord, the fruit of the womb a reward. Like arrows in the hand of a warrior are the children of one's youth. Blessed is the man who fills his quiver with them. So because of the fact that it says that children are like arrows, that means they're not some meek little thing. Of course, they're innocent. We need to protect them. And there is a way to do that. However, if it's saying they're like arrows, it means that they're weapons. And it means that they're weapons for God's kingdom. As long as you raise your children right, and you're raising your children to love and serve God, and you're raising them on biblical principles, you have nothing to fear. And you also need to protect your children, obviously. But if you raise your children right, when they're old, they're not going to depart from what you taught them. And there was another point I wanted to make with that. Let me remember real quick. Oh, okay. Sorry, I just remembered. So there's also the story of Esther. Esther was born into a time in the world where things were very tumultuous, and it was very, very dangerous, and she actually lost her parents. The book of Esther does not detail how she lost her parents, but likely they were killed, and
she became an orphan, and her uncle Mordecai raised her. There is a verse in the Bible, in that book, that says, Esther, perhaps you were called for such a time as this, when she was called into, you know, basically becoming a wife of the king. And she didn't want to go. And she when he said that to her, it wasn't regarding her going there, but it was regarding her calling and what she was called to do. She was called to save the people. She was called to save the people of Israel that were living in this land. And she was scared, but he said to her, perhaps you're born for such a time as this. And I think that that scripture really applies to all of us. It applies to our children. It applies to us as women. And they're born, their lives are not a mistake. And it's not a mistake to bring children into this world, because God told us to be fruitful and multiply and increase the world. And every child is a blessing. Every child is called by God, was formed in their mother's womb and knitted together, and there is a purpose for their lives. So I am not afraid of that, because I know that we will protect them, and no weapon formed against us shall prosper. And yeah, that's the simple, lengthy explanation as to why I'm not afraid to bring kids into this world. And I don't think that anybody should either. So yeah. The next one is, the next part of that question, as far as actual birthing goes, I heard your first was pretty hard. What was bad about it? And I'm scared of the pain of childbirth. So with my first, I had been introduced to a book called Supernatural Childbirth by Jackie Mize. Highly, highly recommend that book. And I had read it before I had Bethany, and I was standing and believing on the promise, which is detailed in scripture, and I'll go more into this in my future video, that women shall be saved in childbirth, and that pain in childbirth is a curse that was put on the Israelites during Bible times. Now, I know I'm getting all like really biblical and teachy right now, but it's one of my passions. I grew up as a missionary, so bear with me. So it was a curse that was put on the people, but the church nowadays has not realized that because it was it was a curse, and Jesus came to redeem us from that curse. Childbirth is no longer something that women have to experience, even though they still do. Now, the women that I know, and myself included, who have not experienced pain in childbirth, have really claimed that and stood on it and believed it without doubting. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, this is absolutely true. It is completely possible to not have pain during childbirth, having a baby naturally, but there are certain things that you have to really firmly believe for it to happen. So with Bethany, I was standing and believing on this promise, and I made the mistake of telling different people, hey, I'm believing for this, and people who did not have faith for that at all. And they began to speak a lot of doubt and saying, no, you're absolutely going to experience pain. Every woman experiences pain. You're crazy, kind of thing. And I got really discouraged. And during my childbirth with Bethany, or before I had her, I was like, I want to know how I'm going to be in labor if I'm not going to experience pain. How am I going to know that I'm actually having contractions and that it's time to have the baby? Because I needed to call my midwife to come. Now, I'm not bashing my midwife at all, but she was like, you're gonna experience pain. It's gonna be really painful. And she's the one who told me about the book. So naturally, I was a little confused, but I absolutely love my midwife. Love her so much. But it was very confusing to me. And I was like, well, okay, you know, and I didn't want to experience that, but with Bethany, I did. And part of the reason that it was so hard was that I had a lot of doubt in my mind that it could actually happen that way without pain. And the second part of that was that I had to have my waters broken before I had her and before I was at the point of them breaking on their own. Normally, water will break on its own if you're in transition, if they don't break at the start of labor. So I had my waters broken, and part of the reason why it hurt so much and it was so excruciating is because the bag of water is a natural cushion for the contractions. So the water in the womb, when you have a contraction and your uterus is squeezing the baby, that is a cushion and a barrier between the baby's body and the wall of your uterus. So when that is gone and taken away completely, immediately, all the contractions are very, very hard, and they're long, and they get stronger and stronger. And because I didn't have that cushion, you know, all of my labor, which was 6 hours, which was actually very, very short, and that in of itself was supernatural for a first childbirth, it was difficult. And then the other thing was her head was turned a little bit to the side, and that made it really difficult, on top of the fact that I could not keep my mind in the right place because the contractions came so fast after that. So her head was turned to the side, and that caused a lot of pain. And I had to, the other thing was because her head was turned to the side, when they broke my water, her head came down wrong. If a baby's head is straight on, it doesn't cause as much discomfort, because their head is basically helping the cervix to dilate and open, and then the baby is born a little bit after that. But that wasn't happening with Bethany, and she was stuck, and I had to be in one position and I could not move. So not being able to move causes a lot of discomfort because you can't get your body into the right position. You're naturally going to feel like, I want to stand up, I want to sit down, I want to kneel, I want to do this or that. And I couldn't do any of that. I had to stay perfectly still for over 2 hours, first on one side and then on the other side laying on the bed. And that was really hard. So if I hadn't had my waters broken, things would have been a little differently, but I understand, like, my midwife needed to do that because I was getting really tired, and I really wanted my baby to be born. But if I could have toughed it out, it would have been different. So yeah, anyways, that is why it was difficult with Adeline. Let me check my phone real quick and make sure that it's still recording, because it cut off on me last time. Okay, we're still good. So with Adeline, completely different story. I reread the book, but I did a couple of things differently. Number one, I already knew it was possible to not have pain in childbirth, and I still stood on that promise, even though I didn't experience it with Bethany. It was very hard. It was a toil, you know. It was very hard to get her born. So that I just had my mind in a different place, and I didn't tell people what I was believing for, and so it was a lot easier to keep my faith strong that I would experience that I was redeemed from the curse of the law, just as we're redeemed from the curse of sickness. I don't believe you have to be sick, because Jesus took that on the cross for us. And if you believe in him and in his promises, you don't have to be sick. Now, that doesn't mean I don't experience sickness, and that doesn't mean that I didn't experience pain in childbirth with Bethany. But there have been instances where I've been sick or I've had a headache and I've been prayed for, and the headache instantly leaves. I had a lump in my breast. I was prayed for. The lump was gone within a month. So all that to say, healing is real. For real. You know, it's just as real as being saved, and it's just as real as breathing or drinking water. So, where was I going with this? Okay, so that was one thing. I kept my mind in the right place this time. The second thing that was different was that I was alone when I had Addie. I was with my husband. My contractions started at midnight, and I slept through most of them. And so I had her in about 2 hours when I woke up in the morning, from when I had her from when my contractions were really strong and it woke me up, to when I had her. It was like under 2 hours, a little under 2 hours. And then the other thing was that I was in the bathtub when I gave birth to her, and the water naturally is a really good pain reliever. So she was born in the bathtub at 8:05 a.m. and I'll go more into detail with that story later, but that is, you know, that is one of the reasons why I did not experience what I experienced with Bethany. Now, I'm not going to say that there wasn't any pain at all with Addie, but when I had my mind in the right place, which was like every other contraction, I had zero pain at all, and it was absolutely incredible. That was such a redemptive birth story to me. So that's why I'm not scared of childbirth at all. I actually want to have a lot of kids. I think it's exciting. I think it's exciting to like get to the next level with that for me, for my faith, of experiencing even less, and eventually you know, I'm believing for my next childbirth to be completely pain-free, having a baby naturally at home. So, and that's what I'm standing on. You can think I'm crazy if you want, but it's just my opinion and it's what I've experienced. So yeah, I know this is really controversial too, but this is my experience, this is my story. So be kind in the comments, please. Anyways, those were the 2 questions I didn't get to in my last Q&A, and I'm excited to make a video going into more detail about home birth and how you can have a pain-free, natural childbirth at home. And that will be one of my videos coming up after Vlogmas, and I'm really, really excited for it, and I really feel strongly impressed on my heart to make that video. So I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm going to get a little bit more editing done before the girls wake up, and hopefully film a few more things that I need to film of some projects in the house, and I'll catch up with you guys in a little bit.
Okay, I'm having a lot of fun. I made some sourdough bread out of my sourdough starter, and it is looking really good. This is the first step, and then I need to cover it and then let it rest for 30 minutes. And then after that, I need to stretch and fold the dough over itself. It's a no-knead bread, so I'm excited to see how that will turn out. I didn't end up editing anymore because I need to take advantage of the time that the girls are actually napping, because I can edit tonight. And I'm realizing that editing is taking up far too much of my day when I can be doing other things that I need to do. So I think I'm gonna try to install some of these child-proof locks on the cabinets, and hopefully I'll get those all done before they wake up. Alright, here's the test. She can still, I think, get her hand in there, but it would be better. And she just woke up, so I'm gonna go get her from her nap. At least one of these is done. And I'll have this less mess to worry about. That's like literally some of the stuff is on the floor right now. And now I'll get to organize under here because things just get thrown back in there and disorganized, and it's a complete mess underneath this. Also, I got some white paint on my cabinets that I haven't touched up yet. So let me go get Addie because she's crying. And then we have to go run a few errands once Bethany wakes up. But I'm feeling good. I'm getting a lot of stuff done. And my bread will be ready to fold in on itself in a minute. So let me go get Addie. Time for the moment of truth. It looks pretty good. It's definitely risen. Oh, there's the alarm for it. I just got my hand wet. Basically what you do, I used my starter to make this, which is awesome. I need to feed my starter here in a minute. My hand's wet so my hand doesn't get sticky or stuck to this, and you basically just take the dough and you pull it to where it kind of resists before it breaks, and you fold it over it on itself, and then you turn it, half turn, or a quarter turn, sorry. Same thing, pull until it resists, and then tuck it on the other side. And then same thing, my hand needs to get wet again. All right, and then this side right here, pull, tug, and tuck on the other side, and one more time, like so. Okay, I'm gonna cover this again, let it rest for another 30 minutes. We're at Walmart. I have to get some gifts for Roberto. And he's meeting me here. So I probably won't show what I'm getting him, but hopefully he won't see what he's getting. So anyways, I'm gonna go get him some stuff, and I'll talk with you guys in a bit. Hello there. I finished editing not today's video, but the video that I'm editing today. I just finished editing. It's exporting now. And yesterday I forgot to close out the vlog, so I'm closing it out today. I'm remembering to close out today's vlog today. My gosh, I'm so tired. My brain feels like mush. Yeah, I'm really, really tired. I did get Roberto's gifts. I don't even remember if I said that. I think I did. Came home, we had dinner, and then Roberto went and hung out with his family for a little bit while I put the girls to bed because it was already kind of late. And the girls went to bed really early. They were so tired. They both fell asleep before 8:30, which is very early for them. And they're still sleeping. So it is now like 10:30, and I'm really happy that I am done editing for the night. I mean, I could probably catch up on Vlogmas editing, but I think I'm gonna leave it at that tonight. I need to rest, and I will eventually get all of them up. Don't worry. I will still continue to upload them after Christmas if I'm not caught up by then, which I don't think I will be, because I have other things I need to do in the next few days. But I will try my hardest to get out at least one video per day, and then continue uploading after Christmas is over until I'm done. And then we're on to the new schedule, which will be great. It will be a lot more manageable. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited for the content ideas that I have, and I'm excited for some collabs I'm going to be doing. And yeah, oh, my sourdough bread is done. Like the way that I'm doing it is you do like 2 different rises. So you do one where this is technically 3. So you do one where you're like pulling the dough every like 30 minutes, and I did that earlier. And then you let it rest out on the countertop with a damp cloth over it for like 5 hours. And then you do a cold fermentation, which is in the fridge. So I need to stick that in the fridge. I think I need to also shape it before I do that. And then tomorrow morning, after it does that for 12 hours, I can bake it. And I'm really, really excited to see how it'll turn out. Actually, I need to go do that so it doesn't overproof, because it's been quite a few more hours than it was supposed to be. I think it's been like 3 extra hours. So hopefully that didn't cause any major damage. But I'm gonna go do that. I'm gonna close out the vlog here. I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a really, really good day, okay? You're awesome. I'll see you tomorrow, lovelies. Bye.